Okay, time for a new video. Welcome back to my channel, or hello if you're new. This is going to be another Q&A video here on my channel, the first one for some time. Several days ago I made a very short video announcing this video you're watching now, and thanks to those of you who left comments and questions for me in the comments section. I'll be taking a look at those in just a moment. Rest assured, I will be filming more Q&A videos at some point in the future, so if you did want to ask me a question, Eurovision related or otherwise, but couldn't quite get it in time for this video you're watching now, don't worry, because there will be more opportunities as and when. With that being said, I'm just going to get straight into this. I have my old video loaded up and ready to go, and I will try and answer these questions as best I can. The first one here is by Oliver_S, which says, do you have a favourite artist who hasn't yet done Eurovision and you think they would be able to send a competitive song if asked to do the contest? Well, certainly, I have a lot of favourite European musicians, a lot of British musicians whose music I've really enjoyed for a long time, and I certainly think most of them could have a fairly competitive entry for Eurovision if they were asked to do it. I mean, I have my music files loaded up in front of me here, so Amy MacDonald is probably top of the pile for me. She's from Scotland, she's been making music for a very long time. I've been a fan of hers for years and years. I've seen her live. She did this little acoustic tour several years ago, which was really fantastic. I went to see her with my friend Peter. It was wonderful, and I like pretty much all of the music she's ever released. And I certainly think if she was asked by the BBC to do Eurovision, she could have something fairly competitive. Certainly something I would enjoy. So I'd love to see that happen. You've also got Bieber Doobie, Churches, who I think are making new music right now. Lauren Maybury, the female lead vocalist, did release a solo album not so long ago, which was really great. So I'd love to see them do it. Who else have we got here? First Aid Kit. I don't think that they would ever be involved in Melfest in Sweden, but they would be fantastic. Gabriella Chilmi, I'd like to see her represent Australia maybe. I think she's releasing new music fairly soon. Maybe something soulful for Australia, that would be. What else have we got here? There's Lauren Maybury. London Grammar would be pretty cool for the UK. What else? Muse, but they would never do Eurovision, of course. They've got new music out, I think, within the next 24 hours. Nightwish would be fantastic for Finland. They have been in the Finnish selection before, albeit a long time ago. Nina Nesbitt's here. Pale Waves, fantastic. The BBC should be looking at acts like that for the UK at Eurovision, if you ask me. Did I say Maisie Peters? Can't quite remember. She would be good. What else have we got here? Sigrid would be great for Norway. Sigur Rós would be amazing for Iceland if Iceland came back to Eurovision. They would never, ever, ever do it. And I'm not sure they would necessarily have something very competitive, but they would probably be one of the favourites to win, because their song would be so utterly unique. What else have we got here? We have The Last Dinner Party, fantastic. The Rasmus, who of course have done Eurovision for Finland. The Veronicas would be very good for Australia. I'm surprised they haven't done Eurovision, truth be told. What else? Wet Leg would be amazing for the UK. That is exactly the sort of thing we should be looking at as well. Within Temptation would be very good for the Netherlands. Kensington would be very good for the Netherlands too. Wolf Alice would be amazing for the UK. So there's a lot of artists there. I've certainly reeled off quite a few. And I've said before on my channel, and I'll say it again here, the BBC are idiots, because they really should be looking at the Sound of poll, which started in 2003. It says here, it is a poll of music critics and industry figures to find the most promising new music talent. So not just British talent, but worldwide talent as well. And if you have a look at the names, I'm just going to reel off quite a few here. Keane, Franz Ferdinand, Kaiser Chiefs, Corinne Bailey Rae, Mika, Adele, Duffy, Vampire Weekend, admittedly not European, Florence and the Machine, Ellie Goulding, Marina and the Diamonds, Jessie J, James Blake, Sam Smith, Ella Eyre, Years and Years. Ollie Alexander has done Eurovision, of course. James Bay, Stormzy, Sigrid. What else have we got? Rosalia would be incredible. The Last Dinner Party. Olivia Dean, who was on the list in 2024 and is now one of the biggest solo female acts on the planet. English Teacher, they would be incredible. And then this year, the winner was Sky Newman, but you've also got Alessi Rose, Florence Road would be amazing for Ireland if they ever came back. Wet Leg are there from a few years ago, Mimi Webb, Lola Young, Griff, amazing. So many, but what is it? Holly Humberstone, Girl in Red would be amazing for Norway. The list goes on and on and on and on. It's right there. It is right there for the BBC to use. They can have this poll and then they can say one of these names we are going to have discussions with, and they can do Eurovision. And okay, representing the UK at Eurovision these days means you're probably going to end up bottom of the pile with very few points at all, but the exposure you would get would be incredible. It's right there, for God's sake. I would definitely be looking to use it. And if other countries have a poll like this, I'd be looking to use that as well. So there you go. Hopefully I answered that question in a way that satisfies you. But yes, long story short, there's plenty of artists. Annalisa in Italy, for crying out loud. There's another one. Lots of favourite artists who haven't done Eurovision yet, but I think they would perhaps have a competitive song if they were asked. The next question by Sarah Barrington Evans 4745, it says here, as an old gothic lady, I love to see rock bands and black metal, along with more darker styles of music at Eurovision. Do you think this type of music belongs at Eurovision? Absolutely. It's diversity. It's something that's going to stand out from the pile. The more diversity in terms of type of performer and style of music we get, it's all good. The more the merrier, absolutely. It was a nice surprise for me to see Serbia send a hardcore rock band. Do you think Serbia will make it to the grand final? Well, there's only 15 songs in each semi-final this year. The public, I think, will give Serbia a nice amount of points. I'm not too sure about the juries. They definitely, certainly the more conservative jury members might think, heavens above, this is damaging my ears, no points from me. But yes, I do think Serbia will make the final. ESC Hayden, if you could have dinner with 3 people, living or historical, who would they be? Wow, that's a great question. 3 people. Well, part of me is tempted to say just 3 of my good friends. I think that would be very nice. I'd be very happy with that. If we're talking about more so people in the public eye, past or present, probably some musicians. I'm a big admirer of Taylor Swift, and I think she'd be a lot of fun. So I think she'd be one of them. Billy Joe Armstrong, lead singer of Green Day, my favourite band. I'd love to have a chat with him about his career and his music and his writing process. So that's 2 people, both musicians. If I had to pick another musician, I don't really know who to go for. I really don't know. It's a very interesting question. I'm also a big fan of writing, which is the biggest passion in my life and has been for a very long time. I might have mentioned that before a few times on my channel. So in terms of writers, I know J.K. Rowling is a very controversial figure, but if it wasn't for her, I don't know whether I would have even really considered writing at university. I don't know whether I would have even become interested in other forms of writing, but Harry Potter definitely triggered something within me. So I'd like to have a chat about Harry Potter with her. But like I said, I know she's a very controversial figure. I suppose, well, let me look at my shelves here. Jack Kerouac, long dead, would probably be knocking back the drinks if I had dinner with him, but it would be amazing to have a conversation with him about On the Road, which is probably my favourite book. Sylvia Plath, that would be amazing as well. Simon Armitage is a poet whose work I really admire. Wow, David Nichols, I really admire his fiction. Yeah, I mean, there's so many names. It's very difficult to really narrow it down to three. There's a couple of sports people as well. Ronnie O'Sullivan, probably my favourite sports-related individual, great snooker player. I'm a big fan, and I'd love to have a chat with him. I've given a few names there. I can't really think of anybody else. But yeah, there you go. 3 names, several names actually, people living or historical to maybe have dinner with. So there you go. ESC India, who has the San Marino flag as their profile picture here. Why do you speak like that? I don't know much about British accents, but yours sounds a bit more formal and sophisticated compared to what I'm used to. Are you a book author? Well, that's a very interesting question. I can tell you right now, I am not posh or upper class whatsoever, nor do I live in an area that is brimming with wealth. I can tell you that much. I'm from and live in Northamptonshire, which is about 90 minutes north by car from London, not terribly far away from Birmingham, and quite far away from the coast, I suppose, pretty much in the middle of England. And you're absolutely right in the sense that British accents, well, there's a lot of them, no doubt about it. Travel an hour away and you'll hear a voice that's very different from mine. I suppose I just try and make myself as clear as possible when I make videos. I want people to understand me. I really try and pronounce things as carefully as I can without stumbling over my words. In terms of, am I a book author? Absolutely not. I'd love to be one day. I've had work in print, and hopefully before the year is out, I might have a few more pieces of original writing in a few magazines and publications. We'll wait and see. But there you go. No, I'm not a book author, and that is probably why I speak the way I do. So there you go. Thank you very much for your question. Whitod says, you've mentioned several times in your videos that the lyrics in a Eurovision song aren't so important to you. Or perhaps you meant that they aren't for the average viewer Eurovision fan. Yeah, I think lyrics at Eurovision really don't matter a great deal. They matter a bit, absolutely. If there's a song that you really enjoy, but you're not quite sure what it's getting at, then I absolutely recommend looking at the lyrics and trying to appreciate it even more that way. But I think the casual viewer, somebody who doesn't have a clue what they're getting themselves into, probably doesn't care much about the lyrics. They're just interested in the way that a song is presented live. They're interested in the energy of a particular song, how quirky it might be. And that stands out a lot more to them. And that might be the deciding factor for them when it comes to vote. I wonder how many people vote for a song based on the lyricism. Probably not many. I wouldn't say it's totally not important, but I think if there is a hierarchy of important things when it comes to a Eurovision track and being in it to win it, the lyrics probably aren't all that important for the casual viewer. Nevertheless, in the context of the long-running discussion among fans about song languages, I'd like to ask how, for you as a native English speaker, lyrics can influence the reception of a song and to what extent. Well, I have to be honest, I don't really know how to answer that question. I think sometimes we've had performances at Eurovision where it's not in English, but we've had a translation of the lyrics on screen. Italy 2018 springs to mind here. That can be particularly effective, and perhaps more countries should utilise it, because it definitely can help in terms of getting more people on board. Italy did well in the public vote that year. And maybe having some translated lyrics on screen really played a part. I don't know. We may well have the Lithuanian performance this year in Vienna have translated lyrics on screen. I don't know. Perhaps. Maybe that was only a national final thing. Maybe so. But either way, it can definitely help having that on screen. Yeah, I don't really know how to answer it. In both cases, that is, if the English lyrics are very weak, cliched or nonsensical, and if they're great, deep, cleverly written. Well, we've had songs that are definitely tongue-in-cheek, quite jokey, quite silly, however you want to phrase it. They've done very well at Eurovision. I mean, look at Espresso Macchiato last year. You can't say that that song really has groundbreaking lyrics, but it did very, very well for itself, finishing in the top 3 of last year's competition. But then you have other songs with fantastic lyrics. I mean, my favourite Eurovision song, The Netherlands 2014, that song, I think, has great lyricism and finished second. So, I'm really not answering this very well. But long story short, if you've got lyrics that are a little bit all over the place, sometimes it really doesn't matter. If you've got lyrics that are really meaningful and touch part of a person's soul, perhaps, that can also do really, really well. Sometimes, as an English speaker, I'll listen to a Eurovision song that's in the English language, and I'll be thinking to myself, you know, maybe there are some grammatical issues here, maybe it's not making any sense. I mean, Georgia have had songs in the English language at Eurovision in the past, including this year, and I'm thinking, what are you on about? It's just the way it's phrased. And, yeah, definitely I pick up on things like that. Whether other people do or not, I don't know. Anyway, thank you very much for your question. I probably didn't answer it too well, but I tried my best. Next up, Rye Bailey. What's your favourite Eurovision song that didn't make the final? Well, to answer that, you've got to go back over 20 years to when the semi-final format was introduced. And there are 2 instances of my personal winner not making the final. Switzerland 2008, Era Stupendo, Paolo Meneguzzi, and A Matter of Time, Senec, Belgium 2018. So in all honesty, it's probably both of them. But there are other examples. I mean, Slovakia 2010 springs to mind. In terms of, well, why don't I load it up here? Have I got it here in front of me? Here we go. I'll give you as detailed an answer as I can possibly give. So I've loaded up my very large spreadsheet here. So my favourite non-qualifier from 2004, Latvia. From 2005, it looks like Estonia. Let's Get Loud. 2006, Poland, Follow My Heart. 2007, Andorra, Salve Melmon. That should have qualified, in all honesty, that year. 2008, it looks like, yeah, Switzerland, but also Bulgaria that year. 2009, I mean, Ireland was my number 2 in 2009. That didn't qualify. North Macedonia was my number 3, and that didn't qualify either. Oh, dear me. 2010, I think it is... Oh, well, of course. Of course, Sweden 2010. Absolutely one of my favourite Eurovision entries to date. I know a lot of people don't really care for it. This Is My Life, Anna Bergendahl. That was my winner in 2010, and it didn't qualify. Yes, indeed. 2011. Looks like Latvia. Angel in Disguise. 2012. Slovenia. Yeah, that really should have qualified. Eva Botto, Verjamem. 2013, Austria maybe? Looks like it. 2014 is going to be Ireland again. Can Lynn and Casey Smith. 2015, all over the damn place here. The Netherlands, Trantje Oosterhuis, Walk Along. 2016 is going to be Estonia, Juri Potsman. 2017 is going to be Switzerland, I think. Time Bell, Apollo. 2018 will be Belgium, as I just mentioned. 2019 looks like Ireland. No, it isn't. It's Belgium. Wow. I need to re-rank 2019. That's way too high. 2021 looks like Ireland. Leslie Roy, Maps. 2022, Denmark, Ready, the show. Really like that one. 2023, the Netherlands, Burning Daylight. There's a song with great lyrics, going back to the previous question. Sadly wasn't really appreciated. 2024, Belgium, Before the Party's Over. And then last year, my favourite non-qualifier looking at this was Australia, Milkshake Man. So there you go, pretty detailed, the answer to that question, but there you go, some of my favourite Eurovision songs that didn't make the final. But I would say, based on my stats, Switzerland 08 and Sweden 2010 and Belgium 2018 are top of the pile. Favourite artist, not Eurovision. So if you're talking in general, it probably is somebody like Taylor Swift. I really admire her. I've seen her live twice. When she did the Red Tour in London many years ago and the Eras Tour a couple of years ago at Wembley Stadium. I went with my good old uni mate Ashley and we had a great time, and his wife. All three of us had a wonderful time. And thank you for your comments saying that my channel is fantastic. I'm so underrated. I appreciate it. Thank you very much for those questions there. Next up, Doris 1975. What do you do outside the ESC bubble? Well, I read a lot. I'm a very slow reader, though. I write as much as I can, although that has been fairly poor for a long time, probably about 2 years if I'm being honest with you. But I really want to pick it up again, get into the swing of things. Links in the description as always to my other social media pages. Check them out if you so wish. You can see a lot of my original writing there going back many, many years. Mainly poetry, has to be said, because that's what I started focusing on more and more during my undergraduate degree. I listen to a lot of music, I watch a lot of movies, I follow things like the Oscars, which just happened, so I follow things like that fairly closely. In terms of work, I won't go into too many specifics here. It has been quite challenging and difficult for many, many years now, but I have and currently work in education. That's all I'll say. But thank you very much for that question. Dean Davies, 8704. What changes would you make to Eurovision if you could? Well, the biggest change that I wanted to happen was bring the juries back for the semi-finals. That's what I was trying to say. And now that is going to happen. So I'm a very happy man, because they never should have been taken out of the semi-finals, if you ask me. In terms of other changes, I don't really know. I really would like more effort to be put in trying to get some countries to return. Turkey, Bosnia, Monaco, Andorra, etc. I know a lot of it is down to cost. Bosnia certainly have had financial related issues for many, many years. Andorra keeps saying, we'll come back, and then they never do. Turkey, I think a lot of it is to do with politics. Hungary, again, politics. But things might be changing in Hungary in that department fairly soon. So you never know. You never know. But I really would like to see more of an effort. And I'd like to read and hear more about the efforts that are being made to get some countries to return to the competition, because the more the merrier, you know. And I suppose if I could make one other change, I don't really know how you would do it, but it would probably be something interval related, because I just don't think people give much of a crap, and they're not always that great, and they drag on sometimes like you wouldn't believe. So I would probably do something like that. Try and reduce the length of it somehow, I don't know. I would also properly punish / fine countries who manipulate the voting, which we have had in the past, or jury members. Absolutely, there you go, that's just popped into my head. I would fine the hell out of broadcasters whose jury members vote upside down. Because that's happened in the past, and there's just no excuse for it. I mean, what are you doing? It happened in 2019, if I remember correctly. A Eurovision fan picked up on it, for crying out loud, and one or two jury members had voted upside down, so their least favourite song got 12 points. Something like that. It's just... oh, dear me. It's just calamitous. If something like that happened, they should be fined. Because you could potentially alter the results of the actual competition ever so slightly. And yeah, we don't want that. We want everybody to vote correctly. But also, there are jury members. I mean, the whole thing with like Armenia and Azerbaijan, I think it is, ranking each other's nation bottom. Every jury member pretty much doing it. It's happened so many times in the past. Slap them with a fine, because we all know what's going on there. So yeah, maybe I would make a few changes. So thank you very much for your question. Lauravision. Do you agree with the general consensus amongst fans that this is a weak year in terms of quality of songs? Yes. Yes, I do. I think this year's competition is slightly weaker than last year, but it's definitely not the weakest competition we've had over the past 20-25 years, I would say. For me, 2006 and 2002 and 2001 are probably the poorest competitions this century so far in terms of quality and perhaps overall enjoyment to watch. It's fairly diverse. You mentioned that here. Yes, I would agree with that. I actually did a very, very rough top 35 of the year not so long ago, and I looked at it and I thought, oh my god, that's in my top 10. Oh my god, that's a personal qualifier. In another year, a much stronger year, that would be nowhere near as high in my ranking. So I do think, yes, maybe this year isn't the strongest. What do you think the big surprises will be this year? As in shock non-qualifiers / qualifiers, songs doing better or worse than expected. So I will cover all of this probably in a future video at some point within the next month. I can tell you as well, I'm already starting to think about my why blank should win Eurovision 2026 video. I'll probably be doing 2 of those this year. We'll wait and see. Okay, let me take a look at the question again. Shock non-qualifiers. From semi-final 1, I'm not sure we will get a shock non-qualifier, actually. From semi-final 2, maybe Czechia. Especially if the public really don't go big for it at all, and the juries don't adore it. Crossroads could be in trouble. Romania, I think, will go through, but there's always the possibility as well. A song like that might not make the cut. So yeah, I'd say those 2 being shock non-qualifiers maybe. In terms of shock qualifiers, songs making the final, I would say Poland qualifying would be a shock. Myself. I would say Portugal going through would be a little bit of a shock. I would say Norway going through, for some, might be a bit of a shock, especially because I don't think that song is highly rated by a lot of fans. Songs doing better or worse than expected. Well, Portugal might do better than we expect. Belgium might do better than we expect. Estonia could qualify. What else have we got here? Armenia might do better than we expect. Switzerland might do better than we expect. Latvia might do better than we expect. Malta might do better than we expect. Italy might do a lot better than we expect. I would say the UK, but I have to say, if somebody asked me, how well do you think the UK will do this year? Are we going to finish on the left-hand side of the scoreboard? If I'm being honest with you, I think we're really going to struggle again. But I'd like to be proved wrong. Anyway, thank you for those questions. Harrietta Midala, 1691, apologies for any mispronunciations. Who are your Eurovision 2026 dark horses? Well, Croatia. Switzerland, Czechia, Italy to an extent, probably those. I don't think there's a huge amount of dark horses this year, but you never know what could happen. And finally, John Bostad, again, apologies for mispronunciations here. When the competition started in 1956 until around the turn of the millennium, it was still the songwriters who competed and not the artist. Do you know if there was any rule change during the 2000s? Well, it was still the songwriters who competed and not the artist. Well, I'm not entirely sure what you mean by that, because certainly if you go back in time, the singers of the songs didn't really write their own entries a lot of the time. I think the first Eurovision winning act who actually played a part in the writing/musical aspect of their entry was Udo Jürgens in the mid-60s for Austria. If no change has been made, the Eurovision must be the only televised competition where the winners are never mentioned by name. But they are. If you're talking about the songwriters are not mentioned by name, well, there's the whole... before Eurovision, there's the awards that they give out. So sometimes the songwriters get recognition there. Not so much during the live shows, but certainly the winners are mentioned by name. A little bit. Usually it's more so the country. So I think I know what you're getting at here. The last time the ESC presenters mentioned the winning songwriters was in 1999, apparently. Yeah, it's a shame the songwriters don't get a bit more recognition during the live shows. I will agree with you there. Absolutely, they deserve a bit more attention. I remember in the 80s and 90s, in the week before the competition, there was always a fuss about whether or not the conductors would be mentioned by name and shown on TV almost every year. Some years it went so far that the conductors threatened to go on strike if they were not introduced. Well, you know, they're an important part of the performance. Why do the songwriters keep such a low profile? I don't know. I mean, you see them in the green room. They are sitting there. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know why they keep a low profile at all, really. Why don't they force the EBU to at least mention the winning songwriters and present them? Well, they do present them with a trophy. I'll load it up here. It just doesn't happen during the live shows. The Marcel Bezençon Awards, yeah, it started in 2002, and they dish out the Press Award, the Artistic Award, and the Composer Award, which is a jury consisting of the participating composers voting for the best and most original composition. So, the Composer Award, yes, that was won by Emily Middlemass, Tom Oehler and Zoe May for Switzerland last year. Switzerland also won in 2024. Italy won in 2023, Sweden won in 2022, Switzerland won again in 2021. So, yeah, the songwriters do get a little bit of recognition, but it's not really during the live shows. Maybe it should be. Maybe it should be. Instead of having a long, protracted interval act, maybe they could present these awards during the live broadcast. Maybe. That would be a very nice thing. Anyway, thank you very much for that question. Maybe didn't answer it terribly well, but I think I understand what you're getting at. Nevertheless, thank you very much. And that's it. Thank you to all of you who asked questions for this Q&A video. A big old ramble. This has turned out to be a lot longer than I wanted it to be, but there we are. Do ask more questions if you so wish for future Q&A videos. I probably will film another one much later in the year. We'll see. I'll be back with more Eurovision 2026 related content fairly soon. There'll be a video regarding my top 35 at some point. There will be a video regarding potentially Dark Horses of the Year. There will be a video regarding the main contenders to win, of which there aren't many for 2026. There will also be a video regarding why blank should win Eurovision 2026. Feel free to guess which country or countries I might be talking about in the near future. Anyway, that's it. Thank you very much for all of the support lately, including on the video in which I predicted the semi-final running orders. There'll be a video reacting to the official running orders when they surface. I'm surprised that video fared so well, because it was just me rambling on for ages, holding up slips of paper, which are still here on my table somewhere. No, they're not. They're up here. So, yeah, thank you very much for the support on that video, and indeed all of the support lately. Until next time, take care of yourselves, stay safe, and bye for now.